Dealing with troubled teenagers. Being a parent has always been one of the most celebrated things. The birth of a child brings joy to the growing family. However, parenting can be stressful. It's generally believed that what a child becomes as they grow older is a reflection of the parent's parenting skills, which puts so much pressure on the parent. Dealing with troubled teenagers makes it seem even harder. Teenagers are moving from childhood to adulthood. They are learning to deal with the changes, learning to make their own decisions, and figuring out who and how they want to be as they grow older. That, together with other things happening around them, can make them anxious too, and impacts their behaviors. Generally, what human beings become mentally and emotionally is mainly a result of experiences, especially socialization. What children go through can either make them stronger or leave them with scars that will only heal when they learn of the possibility of the opposite of what they've gone through. How do you become that solid support system that will motivate your adolescent kids to build and maintain a positive attitude and make them assets in their families and the world around them? It's a very common thing for parents to think that their children misbehave or behave in a certain manner that is unfavorable simply because they are rebellious. This has to change. To yield desired results as a parent dealing with such children, it's best to not be judgmental. Some of the most important things you need to have are goals and values. You need to be sure of the path that you're leading them on. It should not just be about you as a parent. It is therefore necessary that as you raise your children under any circumstances, you start with self-searching. Has it ever occurred to you that there could be nothing wrong with your child? That you are probably expecting to see more of you in a child rather than who the child is or wants to be? Is it possible that you are playing a role in what is happening? The one thing we almost always ignore is that as children grow older, they adopt their views of the world and own beliefs. Sometimes these can make a child seem abnormal if we do not identify with who they are becoming, but it does not mean there is anything wrong with their choices. Being misunderstood can cause them to keep to their own space and feel the need to always protect themselves from everyone around them. It can further cause them to constantly seek validation from other people, which can push them to the wrong hands. Therefore, it is crucial to remember that when talking to the children, you're dealing with someone who has their abilities to reason and will in most cases need to stand up for themselves in your absence. Consequently, the approach chosen must not be one that focuses mainly on disciplining the child. It must be thought through carefully and seek to promote individuality and the ability to think as well as make decisions independently. The parent, above all else, must try and understand his or her child, identify the difference between them while teaching and learning from the troubled child. However, the child must not feel forced to talk. Where a child has personal problems, as a parent, you may need to show more love to that child. Sometimes the best way is to just be there for them. You will also need to learn to listen more and speak less to avoid saying the wrong things, which can worsen the situation. It also gives you time to understand what the child is saying and come up with the best response strategy. Just like with the previous case, you must not judge or try to force them to be different. You might, however, need to set some rules and boundaries to avoid having things blown out of proportion. Some may take for granted your willingness to understand the situation and want to rule the house. Where necessary, seek professional help for the child or help them understand how not finding a solution to the problem can harm not just the child, but those that love them. But do not make it sound like they have become a problem, and as a result, everyone is not happy. The problem cannot be allowed to go on for too long to avoid it being permanent or getting to a point where the child is almost impossible to deal with. This necessitates always watching out for changes in your children and preparing to deal with them at a proper time. With both little and grown-up children, parents should make it a point that the children know that they are appreciated and their efforts too, and that they are equal to any other kids. Families are the compass that guides us. They are the inspiration to reach great heights and our comfort when we occasionally falter. Brad Henry.